Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Come on in, guys. Every Tuesday, we have our lives and we get into it. I'm gonna wait for some of you guys to come on in before I get into the meat of the subject. But before you get in there, how you doing? How's everybody's week going? Can you believe it's springtime already? I mean, it's amazing how fast time flies. Next thing you know, it's gonna be 2025. Man, I tell you. But anyway, guys, this live is going to be more so directed towards the entrepreneurial minded, the business minded folks out there. So that's why I labeled it "How to Build Your Brand," but it doesn't necessarily relate to business. You can build a personal brand as well, right? We all have a personal brand, whether we know it or not, right? So what do you mean by that? How do you define brand? What does that mean? Well, in a business sense, whatever service or product you provide, when people think of you, right, when they think of your name or they see your logo or they hear about you, what kind of feelings does it invoke in people when they hear about you or, come across your marketing materials or whatever? And if it's the first time they're hearing about you or seeing some of your materials, what kind of message are your materials conveying to them to create that initial, interest in that person, right? So at the end of the day, this is an art form when it comes to that side of it, right? Just the way we carry ourselves on a daily basis is our brand, right? Each one of you watching this has a particular brand, whether you know it or not. And it can be hurting you or it can be, helping you. Depends. But in the business world, building a brand is so important. Let me tell you a story. I'm an inventor. I invented, a product a few years ago. It's called the Exact picture hanging tool. Matter of fact, let me grab it. I got to plug my stuff, right? I got to plug my stuff. So give me a second, right? So yeah, this right here is a picture hanging device. Whether you know it a lot or not, a lot of people have issues hanging pictures. It can be a hassle. So, a few years ago, I decided to help people solve that problem by creating a tool that takes all the hassle out of hanging your pictures. And I like creating things. So that's something I did. It's still on the market. Check it out. It's on calibrate.com right there. That's one way to support right here. That's one way to support this channel, guys. So what happens is that when I put that product out, I put it on a certain platform, it got copied, and that's just the name of the game. People copy stuff, right? So I said to myself, hey, look, I can't just be a widget maker. Somebody just cranks out widgets, products and stuff with no brand behind it, because then I'm just a commodity. It's nothing special, right? Even though this is proprietary, this is a proprietary device. So I said to myself, hey, look, I got to build a brand around me to protect the business, protect what I'm doing out here, right? So I decided to get on social media. That's one of the reasons I started a channel, because I wanted to create awareness of who I was, not just the products, who Calibrate is, what Calibrate stands for, right? And when I did that, I started to understand the mechanics of building a brand, which is everybody should know. Everybody should know this, okay? You first have to decide, what is your mission statement? Why do you exist? Okay, I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts, so you can take notes if you want. Why do you exist as a business? Right? We're talking about business, not necessarily personal brands, but we'll get into that in a minute, because they both kind of work together. Why do you exist as a business? Why do you do what you do, whatever product or service you provide? What is the reason? What is the core reason? What are your core values? Okay. One of the first steps in creating an authentic brand, okay, is understanding that. understanding the real reason why you're doing what you're doing. And if you say money, well, you're being honest, okay? But that'll only get you so far, right? Because when you're running a business or you got some enterprise that you're starting up, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. And if money's your only motivation, you're going to burn out quick, right? You're going to find something else that's going to get you the money quicker because it's not that thing over there is not taking as long. And so you have to have something that's more meaningful, that keeps you in the game, that keeps you focused on what you set out to do, right? So whether that's serving people or you just like it, you have a deep passion for what you do. And I didn't say you have to have a super deep passion for it, because people throw that passion word around a lot. But you do have to have some kind of, you do affinity, okay, if you want to use that word for what you do, right? It just can't be something you're just doing it just, like I said, for the money, because you're gonna drop it like a hot potato when things get rough, right? When nothing's happening, no results yet. It may take years before you get this thing off the ground. So it has to be something deeper there that's going to keep you anchored to that thing, right? So you got to find that before you even think about what your brand is. You got to figure out why you're doing it. Okay, what's the core reason? And it better not be just for the money. It has to be something else. Okay, something deeper. So once you figure that out, that's half the battle right there. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's half the battle. Once you figure out why you're doing something, you'll find the ground. You'll become more grounded, right? You'll become more grounded, and when the hard times come, you won't be thrown off of your square so quickly, right? Because you're anchored into something deeper. You found your reason. You found your, as they say in French, raison d'être. I studied French for a long time. I like to study more languages, actually. But anyway, your reason to be. Once you figure out what your reason to be is, okay, for your business, for whatever you're doing out there, okay, that's half the battle right there. Okay. Now, once you figure that out, how are you presenting yourself? Okay, because like I said, that's half the battle. Now you got to figure out, okay, how do I market myself? How do I present myself? How do I want to be seen? What kind of emotions, feelings do I want to invoke in people when they hear about me? Right? Do I want to be the go-to person, in their head? Okay. Most brands, the top brands out there today, they've achieved this, right? When people think of buying something, they may think of Amazon, or they may think of, Walmart or something like that. And yeah, but it took years upon years, decades for them to build that brand. So this is nothing. The building a brand is not something that happens overnight. Okay, it takes a lot of time, effort, and hours, and you could say passion to build it. Part of what I'm doing now, got the light up there that says Caliber 8. I got products out there and so forth. I got I'm by the way, guys, I just did my first radio show this weekend, in KCAA radio, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM in the Los Angeles area. If you're watching, check that out. I'll put the links in the description. And it's real estate related. Okay. So I will start putting out the podcast on this channel. The more I do, okay, and I'll be inviting guests in, and interviewing guests in the real estate industry and the home improvement industry and all of that. So stay tuned for that, guys. But my point in saying that is that that's all part of brand building. Okay, that's all part of brand building. I mean, there's so many platforms out there. You just can't be on one if you're really trying to build a brand, right? And but at the end of the day, what I'm saying to you guys is a brand will sustain you in the long run, right? Building a brand will sustain you in the long run and keep you in front of your audience. And another important part of that, a part of brand building, is knowing who your audience is. Who are you trying to reach? Okay, who are you trying to reach? Um, a lot of us, when you first start out on your entrepreneurial journey, you say, "Oh man, I want to sell to everybody." Everybody wants my whatever widget, my this, my course, my this and that, and that's not the case. And I'm going to be frank with you because everybody doesn't care about what you got, right? So you got to find your core audience, those people who love you, right? Who care about what you have to say, who hang on to your every word, who respect you. Those are the ones that are going to keep you in business. Okay, so you want to build a brand that's targeted to them. Okay, and that's just the way it goes. Don't try to please everybody. If you're trying to please everybody, nobody's gonna know who you are because you spread too thin. So figure out your core audience, and then you focus in on them. You hone in on them. You understand their needs, their pain points, their aspirations, their inspirations. What inspires them. Okay, because those are the people that are gonna keep you in business. Because this is kind of a business talk right here. So it's not just about you. First, you got to figure out who you are, right? Like I said, first, you got to figure out who you are, why you're here, why you exist, and who do you exist for, right? Once you figure out who you exist for, then everything else kind of falls into place, right? You've laid the foundation now. All you got to do now is plug and play, right? Everything you do is going to be centered around those two things. Why do I exist, and who do I exist for? Everything from your marketing, all of that, mainly marketing, right? It's going to center around that. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. So, once you figure that out, now it's time to build your systems. Okay. What kind of strategy? What are you going to use to build this brand? Okay. I'll tell you one thing that's going to help you is you got to be consistent, right? You can't be half assing it when it comes to building the brand. Okay. A strong brand requires that you're consistent all the time. That's one of the reasons I come on here every week and put out videos every week. Right. I go live every week, whether there's one person watching or no people watching. Okay. Because it's about consistency, right? Because ultimately it all falls on you as the linchpin, right? As the boss of your whatever you got going on, and I like analogies. I like analogies, and I like to use nature as an analogy a lot of times, right? Because we all can relate. The sun, when we look at the sun out there, one thing we can say about it is it's been consistent all your life, right? Imagine if the sun, that big ball of fire in the sky, was inconsistent. Imagine if it moved out of its orbit just maybe an inch or a few feet or something like that. Or the heat from the sun increased, I don't know, however many degrees Fahrenheit or whatever more than it usually is. That would throw everything off, right? That would throw everything off. But that doesn't happen because nature itself is consistent. So we can learn a lot from nature, especially when it comes to our own personal endeavors, our own personal aspirations. Just look around, and it'll tell you what to do. And one of those things is be consistent. So if you're putting out content, make sure it's consistent, right? If whatever marketing materials that you use, make sure that's consistent. Make sure that whatever feelings that you invoke in your audience, right? Customers, audience, all of that's consistent, okay? Because you want a consistent income, right? And so you can't half-ass it. Do you think every day that I want to do a video? Well, I kind of like doing videos, to be honest. I kind of like the whole connecting with millions of people and getting my message across. So I don't have a problem with being consistent doing this. That's why I've been doing it for over 3 years now. Okay. But I can't afford to fall off, right? Because if that happens, then I'm consistent, and then my brand will be compromised. I hope you guys follow what I'm saying. It's pretty elementary, right? So last thing you want to do, the last thing you want to do is compromise your brand. Okay. So, I'm sure a lot of you guys in the business world know what I'm talking about. This is not news to you, but I'm kind of targeting those of us who may be new to this and want to build a brand. But when you think about it, it's super easy today to do this. I mean, you have this, you have the internet. Okay. I mean, you have this right here. Right. This is where most people are anyway. Right. Most people's heads are like this all day long, looking at their phones. So compared to 20, 30 years ago, reaching millions of people, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people is so easy today. It's so easy to build a brand today. Okay. But even with all this technology, if you're not consistent, it can actually hurt you more than help you. Let me see. Yeah, it can actually hurt you more than help you. So, so we touched on that consistency. We touched on identifying who your audience is, and you're gonna have a lot of people today with, like I said, with all the platforms you can be on. You still have to identify your core audience. Your core audience, those who, as they say, rock with you. Those who are die-hard fans. Okay, and those are the ones you want to reach, like I said before. And there are various ways to do that. But then, how do you do that? Well, you got to develop systems. You got to develop things like lead magnets and funnels to funnel those die-hard fans. Okay, those that show at least 80% that are loyal, 80% to 90% loyal to you, 80% and up. You want to cater to those people, right? You want to cater to those people. Okay, you want to build your brand with them, because the rest are gonna they just like to watch you. You're entertainment for them. But are they going to buy from you? Are they going to purchase your products? Are they going to go to your website? Are they going to check out what you got? Are they going to say, hey, man, this guy's been, this guy or girl has been giving out so much value to me. I want to patronize their business. I want to support what they got going on. That's who you want. All right, guys. And, it's been said, you want to give more value, that you want to give more than you get. Okay. In other words, you want to pour out so much value, right, to your audience that everywhere they turn, you're adding value. You're teaching them something, and that's the approach I have. I'm not necessarily an entertainment channel, so I don't get a bunch of views. I don't talk when it comes to different, like if you compare me to different channels, because I'm an education channel, and I'm kind of in a niche market here, home improvement and tools, because a lot of people aren't confident. They're not confident enough to use tools, and that's where I come in. Okay. So yeah, you got to figure out who are you, right? Who's your audience? Cater to them, give them what they need. Okay. And give them so much that they cannot question. They cannot question who you are and the value you give. Right. Because you give so much. Okay. So they got to respect that, right? They got to respect that. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you're a business and businesses have to survive, they need income, right? You got to figure out how are you going to get people to come out of their pocket and support your business. Okay, and that's where you have to give them even more value, right? So whatever comes out of their pocket, in their mind, that's worth less than what the value that you're giving them. Right. So you got to give them more value than what they give you as far as income. And that's the whole thing behind content marketing. That's the whole thing behind what I do. Okay. Because I want to give you so much value that you cannot question who I am. You cannot question who Caliber 8 is. Okay. That's my sole purpose of being on these platforms. Right. I may make you laugh. I may, every now and then I may tell a joke, but ultimately I want you to become, I want you to become educated in what I'm teaching you here. Okay. Like I said, I want you to be so comfortable and so handy that you feel like a pro when you pick up these tools. Okay, that's what I'm about. Yeah. Okay, so you've identified your audience, you've identified who you are, and now you got to research. Hey, who else is doing what I do? Yeah, who else is doing what I do? Because you're not the only one. You may feel like you're the only one, but you're not. It's kind of like, okay, when you come up with that domain name for that website, you thought of, oh, I got a great name for my business. Let me go on GoDaddy or something, look up the name, and next thing you know, somebody has it already. No, you're not original. Okay, but what is original is you, right? That thing you're talking about is not original. I'm not the only guy talking about tools. I'm not. But I am the only guy that's me talking about tools, right? So you gotta focus on that. You gotta focus on you and the flavor, right? The unique flavor that only you can bring to that thing. A lot of people complain about, oh, that's an oversaturated market, this, that, and the other. Totally undervaluing who they are. What's not oversaturated and what will never be oversaturated is you and how you present things. Only you can do it your way. Okay, and that's part of understanding true brand building is authenticity, right? Because nobody else can be an authentic you. Only you can. Claudette, hey Claudette, how you doing? Glad you're coming on here. Hope you're getting some nuggets. Claudette says to give is to receive. Absolutely. Yeah. At the end of the day, the secret to this whole thing is giving more value than you receive. And you will receive it if you give enough, right? And you have your systems in place and you're really serving people. You'll get enough to take care of yourself. You'll get enough, sometimes more than you ever thought you would get. But never fall into I gotta get. Always be in the giving value mode. Yes. Yes, you want to, solicit your audience, right? Because that's how you survive as a business. But even then, you're seeing that as an obligation to serve them, right? You would be remiss in your duties to serve your audience if you don't offer your products and services to them, right? Part of your duty is to offer your products and services to your audience. That's what they want, right? You're giving all this value. You want to give something in the form of products and services, and the reciprocal action is them supporting you by giving you, currency to help keep things going. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel guilty about that. So yeah, Claudette, to give is to receive. Absolutely. What else about brand building? And guys, feel free to chime in. Whoever's watching, whether it's now or in the replay. I would love to see your comments on this. You seasoned vets in the business world. Yeah. So find out who else is doing what you're doing. Right? Find out who else is out there doing what you're doing. Because like I said, I guarantee you're not the only one, but there's only one you, right? The good thing about researching your others who are in the same area is to find out, hey, how they're serving their audience in a certain way, but what ways are they're not serving their audience, right? There are certain things that they're doing that they're not doing that if you look close enough that the audience needs, and if you can fill that gap, there you go, right? If you can fill that gap, there you go. Or it may be the fact that they're filling the needs of the audience in a certain way, but not enough. And you come in there and you just add value upon value. Okay, that's another way to build your brand, right? You're going the extra mile to serve them. And that's what it's all about. Right? So there's room in this for everybody. I mean, you can say, okay, competitors, competition, and all that. No, I think there's room in this for everyone, right? There's room in this for everyone. Okay. So yeah, look at what the people need that they're not getting, and you go in there and give them that. Simple as that. Okay. So if when you're talking about the nuts and bolts of building your brand, okay, we talked about some of that already. What's the purpose? Okay. What's the mission statement? This is another thing. If you can put in writing what your mission statement is, this is monumental, right? This is monumental in terms of messaging, right? In terms of what people understand you to be, right? What is it? Did you put it in writing yet? Did you figure out who you are? We talked about that. Did you put it in writing? What is the mission of your business, of what you do? What's the purpose? Put that in writing. The mission here at Calibrate is we make DIY easy by giving you the tools you need to get the job done. That's our mission statement. Okay, and check out calibrate.com. Okay, we don't have every tool, but we're working on it. We got the basic tools that you need. I don't care if you're a housewife, okay, that never touched a tool before. I don't care if you're a teenage boy or girl that never touched a tool before. But I believe personally that every child, every person should have a basic knowledge of tools, period. I think it's something like, I don't know, 45% of people don't have power tools in their home, something like that, let alone hand tools. That's a shame, because I mean, you're missing out on a lot. Learn how to use tools, do your own projects in the house. Not only do you save money, but it's a good bonding experience for the family. It's very rewarding for the individual, right? I taught welding for a while, and I saw grown men getting out of prison. Some of them never even touched a tool before in their lives, but they took a month out of their life to get certified. And I guarantee you, these men and women turned into other people. I mean, I saw the transformation right before them. Amazing, right? Amazing. And that's the power. That's the power of picking up a tool. Okay. So I focus my business around that, serving people, letting them know that, all you need is the confidence, and I'll give that to you. That's what Calibrate does. We give you the confidence to do all that. Okay. All right. What else? What kind of personality? What's the personality of your brand? What's the voice? What's the voice of your brand? Are you excited? You have that excited energy? You have that sincere, authentic energy? Do you know what you're talking about? Can you be considered an expert in what you do? You may want to have that classy, sophisticated type of energy, right? That happens in the fashion world or the jewelry world, right? You look at those jewelry commercials, everything's all classy and everything, and same with the fashion world as well. So whatever world you're in, how do you want to define the type of energy that you want to convey? All right. If you want to convey class and sophistication, you most likely you're probably in selling a car or something, or a luxury car or some kind of luxury item. Me, I'm into tools, so I don't mind, the kind of forthright. I don't want to say too rugged, but because you don't have to be rugged to use tools, but forthright, confident. You know what I mean? That kind of energy. That's what I'm exuding. If I'm not exuding that energy, guys, let me know. Okay, so it's very important to define that type of energy that you want to convey. Right? Claudette's the florist. So she's going to convey that classy, sophisticated type of energy, because when people think of flowers, all over the place, it's not it's not a rugged type of energy that I may convey for like tools or something like that. It's a touch of I don't know, sophistication, class, and excitement, right? Because it lifts your spirits, right? Flowers lifts your spirits. Am I right, Claudette McCoy? Am I right? Let me know if I'm right about that. So once you define your purpose, Now you have to define the type of energy you want to convey, right? Because that's what people respond to. They respond to that energy, right, that you're conveying when it comes to your brand. If you look at my logo right there, it says calibrate, but what is that? What is that right there? That's a wrench, right? That's a wrench. That's telling you, hey, look, this is about mechanical stuff. This is about tools. This is about, fixing things, repairing things. This is about confidence, right? And there's a play on word, calibrate. I put the 8 on the end. Got to be a little bit creative. You know what I'm saying? And that's all. Like I said, all this is part of brand building. You got the visual and you got the conceptual, and then you got what, the emotions, right? The emotions that you invoke with what you do, right? Ultimately, guys, it comes down to confidence. Okay, whatever personality, whatever voice, whatever energy that you convey, it comes down to confidence. Now, here's another element that you can't ignore either. In today's world, when you put yourself out there, whether it's a business, whatever, people are going to look you up. They're going to go on. The first thing they're going to do is, oh, yeah, you do that? Okay. And then they're going to go to Google and Google your name and see if you're full of what, or if you're real. So you better have your brand story. Okay. You better have that together. Right. And I'm not saying to go out there and lie or anything like that, make something up, but have a story, have some kind of story that connects you to what you do, that gives people, when they hear about you and they look you up, it gives them a context about you, gives them some kind of context of where you're coming from. And that alignment helps people to know, like, and trust you better. Right? Me, I come from a trades background. I was a trucker for 20 years. Okay. I was a welder for a few years. Right? I did all kinds of trades throughout my day. I did solar installation. I was a lineman, guys that climb the poles and do the electrical lines. I did that. Roofing. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So I was kind of in and out of the world all of my life. I drove steamrollers for, the city, in Florida, the asphalt paving. I when I look back on my, days, a lot of them, I would say the vast majority of them was in some kind of trade. So maybe that has something to do with what I do now. Okay, I already had an affinity for what I'm doing here, getting online and teaching the average Joe, the basics, right? So if you could just connect the dots in your own life and say, okay, why do I do what I do? Was I always a designer? Was this always in me? You know what I'm saying? That's usually how it goes. You had some affinity from your childhood. It was already in you, and then it just showed up in your life. You sought it out, even unconsciously. You sought out this kind of work or started this kind of business because it was always in you, in some form or fashion, right? Everybody's not going to be an accountant. Everybody's not a numbers person. Some people are more creative. Then you got the artists. Artists stand out. I mean, they stand out immediately. You can tell an artist just by the way they dress, the way they talk. They got that kind of vibe about them, right? Musicians, same thing. Artists, musicians, numbers people, they usually gravitate to things or occupations or businesses that involve numbers. Stock market people, brokers or people like that, accountants. If you got a mechanical aptitude, you may end up being, get into engineering, or you may even have your own automotive repair shop somewhere. So everybody has their thing, right? Everybody has their thing. So once you figure that out, write that down. Say, put that into a story, or have people, good storytellers. There are people out there that can, tell your story better than you can. You just got to give them the elements. They know they know the wordplay, how to, how to articulate your story better than you can. They have people out there to do that. And people, there's those guys, the ones that tell the story for you, they were always into that too. So you see how everything kind of fits, right? So it just makes it easier when you understand, when you look back and you connect the dots in your own life. Because today, like I said, people are gonna look you up. They're gonna want to know what you're about. They're gonna want to know why you do what you do, right? You're not just selling them a widget, right? You're not just doing it for the money. You're doing it because you love to do it. This has always been you, and you're just this is a natural evolution of who you are, right? This is a natural whatever business you have. This is the natural evolution of who you've always been. So in that sense, really building a brand is about just finding out who you are and then expressing that to the world in the most in the most authentic way you can with the tools that are out here to do that. Are you guys following me out there? Or am I just rambling on? Okay. Picking a name. Pick a name. Pick a brand name for yourself, right? All these things are important. I know I talked about some of the subjective things, but some of the more concrete things you have to do is pick a name. Like I said, write out your mission statement. And all this, like I said, whether it's your name, your slogan, or whatever you got in your head, it all has to tie into your brand identity. Okay. It has to capture, it has to capture, for the most part, it has to capture what you're about. Okay. This right here is called ExactTac, the ExactTac picture hanging tool, because it hangs pictures exactly where you want them all the time, 100% of the time, guaranteed. I can tell you that. Okay. I can tell you that with 150% accuracy and authenticity, because I know what it does. I put years into this right here. This is the culmination of years of effort just to bring it to market to serve you. Okay. This is an iteration, right? This wasn't not the original version. It was several versions before this happened. Okay. And it's called ExactTac because, like I said, it does what the name is, exactly where you want it all the time, guaranteed. Okay. So yeah, guys, everything else, like I could talk about your logo, the look, the colors, all this stuff. And they have experts that do this. They have people out there that understand the what they call the minutia of brand building, right? Which are very important as well. What does your logo say? How does it look? Does it go with the brand? The colors that you're using, all this stuff. Certain colors trigger certain things in people's minds, right? So you have to know that all that's part of it, right? But I can go into all of that, right, guys? But at the end of the day, ultimately, it comes down to authenticity, consistency, right? And you don't have to sound perfect all the time. Matter of fact, people like when you maybe make mistakes or say a word wrong, because it tells people, hey, that's a real person, right? That's a real person I'm talking to, right? So it's not about being super perfect, but it's about being authentic, as authentic as you can be. Okay, that's all part of brand building, guys. So ultimately, what kind of emotions and feelings are you invoking in people? So we got to be careful how we treat people out there as well, right? You can't put on one face on the camera, and then you go out there and you're kicking a homeless person. That's not. So you got to be careful with that. So ultimately, building a brand will keep you in check, right? You can't do you can't do what everybody else does, especially if you put yourself out there, right? So I guess you can say brand building, in a sense, is character building, right? Because especially when it comes to personal brands, right? They're all kind of tied together, right? So guys, don't be afraid to go out there and build your brand, man. The world is waiting for you. The world is waiting for you. There's no other you. And we're out there waiting for you to come out there and do your thing. Okay, because you got something that we need that nobody else can bring us except you. All right. All right, guys. hit like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. If you like what I brought to you tonight, hit the like and subscribe. Hit the share button. Go to Calibrate, okay, and support the channel. Go to calibrate.com right there and support the channel. You got some great products out there for you. And I appreciate you guys coming on. Let me see it. Perry Girl said, you are more than just the tool guy. Yeah, hey, I appreciate that. You exude excellence and pizzazz. There you go, pizzazz. Yeah, that's right. Hey, that's the first time I was told I exude pizzazz. I like that. I like that. But anyway, guys, yeah. Once again, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate in building your brand. I don't care if you're putting out ebooks, you're putting out actual physical products. I don't care if you're a florist like Claudette is. You know, doesn't matter, because you're building a brand whether you know it or not. Do you want to build a brand of actually putting something valuable out there in the world, or do you want to have a brand of, well, you know, you didn't do anything? Okay, and that's not about being famous. It's just about adding value to the world. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.